Well, I'm finally back home. So after more than a week and a half where I was spending time in New York and in Fort Lauderdale to see some of my friends and also on vacation, and also spending a week and a half where there's been a couple of videos and a couple of previews and reviews. I have to kind of do it in a makeshift kind of area. I'm finally glad that I'm back into familiar territory, which is in my room, and have this big board, and I don't have to kind of just read off the notebook in terms of the notes on it, because with this big board I can basically put on the notes compared to the small board that I have, which is kind of like my traveling board. But that being said, tonight I was actually also thinking about not doing a video because I did take a 6 hour flight from Fort Lauderdale to SFO, and that flight was just well, I just took that flight like a couple hours ago, and I just got back home. I think about an hour and a half ago, and I actually only watched the last 10 minutes of this game between LAFC versus the Seattle Sounders, which, by the way, I want to apologize to the Seattle Sounders fan base that, this morning I think I said it was LAFC versus the Portland Timbers when, yeah, no, it's not LAFC versus the Portland Timbers as the only game that's happening tonight. I mean, I got the LAFC part right, but unfortunately, I got the wrong Cascadia team, and it's actually the Sounders playing tonight instead of the Portland Timbers. But, I only watched like the last 10 minutes of this game because, when I got home, I actually immediately had to unpack everything that is in my bag. And by the time I finished doing so and also had something to eat, I only got a chance to watch the last 10 minutes of this game. And by then, yeah, this game was pretty much done. Because, LAFC coming into this game in a game where it was kind of a must-win, knowing the fact that if they want to stay in the playoff race, they need to, of course, get 3 points, even if they are going to be taking on the top team in the Western Conference. Now, early on, one thing I want to kind of mention when I watched the condensed highlights is that there was a lot of empty seats at the Bank of California Stadium in the beginning, and the 3-2-5-2 was actually not completely packed in the beginning of the game. Now, I understand it's a weekday game, and I understand that LA traffic is notoriously bad during the middle of the week, but the fact that this game was a 7:30 game, and the fact that it was that empty inside the stadium, and it's also a crucial match, yeah, I mean, I don't think you should just always kind of blame on the traffic as the reason. And that, again, I've seen before where there are midweek games at Bank of California Stadium that's actually more packed than this one. And mind you, this is supposed to be a game where it's between two teams that, whenever they face against each other, it's a good match. And especially with LAFC just kind of fighting for their lives of the playoffs, I would expect at least there's going to be more fans showing up. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be completely packed at the beginning, and eventually it did kind of filled up, though. Even when it eventually did filled up, it was still not completely packed, and there was still a lot of empty seats around Bank of California Stadium. But in the 5th minute, Rodriguez did put it straight to Stephen Fry before Mamadou Fall actually took a long-range shot, but it took a deflection, and that deflection was a big one because it actually almost redirected toward goal and caught Stephen Fry flat-footed, but fortunately that one goes wide. But I thought LAFC had most of the possession early, and they controlled the game, and they were rewarded by that by scoring the first goal of the game. It's Brian Rodriguez scoring from Raheem Edwards to make it 1-0 in favor of LAFC. Though Atencio did hit it straight to Blackman in the 29th minute before Montero did puts it over the bar from long range in the 31st minute. And, the Sounders, after they went down 1-0, I thought they had a good response, and they was kind of starting to try to control this game and try to get this equalizer back. But instead, right on the stroke of halftime, LAFC doubled their lead. And it's a Latif Blessing scoring from Marengo and Kim Moon Kwan, and that has to be a huge relief goal for Latif Blessing, a guy that, he has not been doing very well this season. I mean, I haven't really heard a lot from him. I guess maybe it's because he's been suffering a lot of injuries, or the fact that he's definitely not performing the way that he has been with this team in the past couple of seasons. But he finally breaks the duck in terms of the goal drought this season by scoring here to give LAFC a 2-0 lead heading into the second half. Now, as we go into the second half, whatever Brian Schmitzer said to the Sounders team in the locker room, and I'm pretty sure he definitely had some choice words with his team, and probably are not happy the fact that his team is down 2-0 heading into the second half, because this Sounders team, they really were fired up heading into the beginning part of the second half. We almost saw a historic moment where Nuhu scored a goal. I mean, if Nuhu actually scored this goal, I'm pretty sure the Sounder fan base would just absolutely erupt. And even though this game is an away game, I did see some Rave Greens in the crowd, and that they are gonna go absolutely nuts if they see Nuhu score a goal, because that's literally what Sounders fans feel like one day that is going to happen. Consider he's such a fan favorite, and that again, one day Nuhu is gonna finally score that first goal, and he came so close here, probably the closest he has been, as he struck the post here on a free header. Then Blackman was able to rob Montero on a point blank effort before Arriaga hits it into the side netting from the corner. And as I said, Seattle, they were trying to press to get one back, while LAFC, their defense had no answer in terms of those ball coming into the box. Like, those free chances was all balls coming into the box, and they just had no idea how to deal with it. But before I even finish writing this down, LAFC made it 3-0. And guess who it is? It's Chicho Arango, who, again, I think it is pretty much a lock-in that he is going to win the newcomer of the year. Like, I know he's only came into the league just 2 months ago, but with how hot he's been, in the way that he's almost like scoring every single game, you cannot tell me he's not the newcomer of the year. And that, again, if only he probably came into this league in the beginning of the season, not 2 months ago, he would definitely have heavy consideration for MVP, because the number that he's putting up is just mind-boggling. And that, I thought before that it was already amazing with how Chicho Arango was able to score so many goals, and that he had that stretch where he had like 6 consecutive games with at least a goal. But the ratio that he's now on, which is like 14 goals in the last 14 games, it is absolutely ridiculous. And that it's hard to believe that he's actually on verge of not only winning the newcomer of the year, but maybe even get the golden boot for this year. And this is a guy that literally just came into the league two months ago. And I think for LAFC, this has to be great news, knowing the fact that they might finally solve the issue that they've been having for the past couple of years, ever since Diamante departed this team. Who exactly is going to be that true number 9? But here he scored from Blessing to make it 3-0, and for Blessing, great night for him. Not only breaking his goal drought, but also getting on the assist chart. But I also wrote that was an absolute backbreaker for the Seattle Sounders, because that just completely killed the momentum that they had. I mean, if the LAFC did not score that goal, I had a feeling Seattle was going to get one back, because they were really knocking on the door on that LAFC defense. Then Fry was able to deny Edwards' free kick, which took a deflection, and this was actually a great save by Stephen Fry. In some way, I would say that he kind of robbed Edwards there, because this free kick that Edwards took a wicked deflection. And anytime when the ball took a wicked deflection, especially in a free kick like that one, which was about 23 yards out, that is a very difficult save for the goalkeeper. And Stephen Fry, showing why he is considered one of the best goalkeepers in this league. Although, even though tonight he definitely did not have one of his best night. Though I don't think any of the goals really is on him. That Seattle defense. This was a rare off night for them, in the way that you don't see them often giving up free goals in the game. In fact, I think this might be I think this is only the second time that they gave up 3 goals in the game, because I remember they gave up 3 goals against Sporting KC. But like I said, this is a defense that is considered they're the best in the league, and it is very uncharacteristic of them seeing just getting pulled apart. But that being said, you also got to credit LAFC, which for tonight, it looked like with the way that how they performed, they kind of looked like the old LAFC in this game against the Sounders. But in the 73rd minute, Edwards hits it straight to Stephen Fry as LAFC was pushing for a 4th goal. Though Blackman did rob Benezet, who went through on goal, before Carlos Vela was summoned and made his first return for LAFC coming off of an injury. That's another great news if you're an LAFC fan, knowing the fact that Vela could potentially, I would say that it's going to maybe take a while for him to get himself back to 100% and get him himself in the starting 11. But the fact that he's now finally back and just in time for a playoff push has to be great news if you're an LAFC fan. Another guy that also made his return on Nico Ladero. He was actually denied by Blackman, and I think Ladero came in the second half too. So, in the lights of this frustrating defeat for the Sounders, at least the good news is they're starting to get some of their attacking talent back in this team. In the 84th minute, Blessing did puts it wide from long range, but yeah, in the end, LAFC in a game that they absolutely need to win to stay into playoff contention, they get the victory and get a 3-0 win against the team that is currently at the top of the Western Conference. But the shots in this one, 14 shots apiece for both of these teams. 6 shots on goal per the 5 that the Sounders had. 3 shots off target per the 5 that the Sounders had. 3 shots that was blocked per the 4 that the Sounders had. And possession-wise, 44% possession compared to 56% possession that the Sounders had. And, like I said, even though the Sounders are still at the top of the Western Conference, knowing the fact that Sporting KC now have 2 games in hand and they're only 3 points behind, yeah, you can definitely sense that Sporting KC is coming, and they definitely want to take that top spot away from the Sounders. Or I guess maybe this is just the Sounders purposely decide to lose game because they know that they want that second place. Like it's all, I think I've said before, where in MLS, life, death, taxes, and basically the Sounders basically finished second in the Western Conference. And even though this year it looked like that wasn't going to happen, it seems like that was going to be it with the way that they're kind of struggling, and it seems like they could potentially draw on that second spot. I mean, that would be just such a meme if that is going to happen. And also for those that wonder, do I worry about the Sounders team with the way that they've been struggling lately? No, I don't think so. I think in some way I think eventually they are going to get it going. I mean, they've shown before where even in a rough patch that they go through, this team will always find themselves back in winning ways. And I think it's best that the Sounders get this rough patch right now instead of heading into the first round of the playoffs. I mean, technically, as we get closer to the playoffs, they want to snap out of this rough patch if they want to gain some momentum. But in terms of concern of this team, haven't been playing well in the last couple of games, is this a concern that they are not going to be considered an MLS Cup contender? Absolutely not. I think they're going to be fine, and that I think the only time I might start to have some panic on the Sounders team is that if they continue to lose these next couple of games, and that maybe that's when there's might be some red flag. The fact that you probably have now lost like maybe a 4 in a row, or coming into the playoffs on a cold stretch, and yeah, this could be a little concern. It will be a monumental kind of reversal if the Sounders are able to go deep if they continue this bad run that they have. But again, I don't think it's going to happen. I think eventually they are going to find a way to get back to winning ways. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this video. Tomorrow, I of course will be doing the preview of the 11 games that's going to be happening, and of course, I'm not doing the preview after this video because I am just incredibly tired. In fact, I'll probably just go to bed right after when I finish recording this video. But also, in terms of the previews for tomorrow, I'm not going to go too detailed in terms of it. And it's going to be similar to the last one in the preview, where I'll only talk about some of the information coming into the game, and also hopefully this time I'm actually going to go take a look in terms of who can clinch and who can eliminate, and I'll put some of that information in the preview. But it's going to be much less detailed, knowing the fact that I can't do a long preview tomorrow, knowing the fact that there's going to be games that's going to be starting at 4 o'clock my time and 7 p.m. Eastern. And I also got to remind myself that since I'm now back in the West Coast, I need to realize that games are going to start earlier in the midweek, especially the night games, and compared to when I was in the East Coast, where usually no games started until like 7 p.m. Eastern time. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.